Good morning, everyone. This is a general commentary for Lecture 3 on Sustainability Modeling, Spring 2013. I have my set of notes here about things I wanted to say today. I think the first one is a general commentary regarding the past couple of lectures. One of my colleagues that's been following the class, not for credit, and I appreciate always the following and the constructive criticism, has indicated that the statements that I've made regarding not using models for predictive purposes, it's a little bit of a cop-out, and I think I get the point. I think modeling has responsibility, and I'm going to stick to my guns on that point. And I did want to clarify and explain things a little bit. When I say that models should not be used for predictions, what I'm trying to convey to you and to everyone is that it's predictions are a little difficult to defend because whatever models simulate, whatever results you get out of the models are based on a set of assumptions that are made up front. Okay, so what tends to happen many times is that people focus on the results and they don't focus on the assumptions. Okay, this is exactly what happens with the limits to growth study. This is what I see happening with the majority of models that are out there, that people tend to focus on the results and not the assumptions, and actually they look at the results and they forget about the assumptions, and then they credit, they can go either way. They put too much credit on the results, or they completely discard the results and anything in between. So what I keep saying, or the point that I keep coming back to, is that models simulate results based on assumptions, and I don't like to call those predictions. I call them, I like to call them, simulation of scenarios, simulation of potential outcomes, but certainly not predictions. Predictions is really it's a much bigger word. So although I do understand a little bit of the misunderstanding, and I do understand the fact that, as a modeler, you need to take ownership and responsibility about your work, and so it's not a cop-out. It's really just framing, what models are in the right perspective. So I'm going to stick to my guns on that, but I wanted to throw that clarification, and I welcome the discussion on this point. It's very valid, and particularly for sustainability issues, I think it's a very relevant discussion, and I think it'll be a point we'll be coming back to in this class quite a bit. So that was a general commentary. Now, specifically about this lecture 3, we have introduced in this lecture the simulation tool that we're going to be using, which is VENSIM, we went through a few models. So if you haven't watched the lecture video, go back, watch it, and then come back to this commentary. What you probably realize is that like any other software, and even though VENSIM has got a pretty user-friendly interface, use of these simulations tools it's a matter of practice. So the more you use it, the better you get at it. So I have to encourage all of you to use VENSIM, use it a lot. Don't just go passively through the lecture materials and think that VENSIM somehow magically is going to make it to your head. So please go and practice. Make sure you understand the models that we saw in class very carefully. Go through every step. If you have any questions, please post them, and we'll get them answered. And actually, the more questions that get asked, the better the discussion is, the richer the learning process will be. So I want to encourage you to do that. One thing that I wanted to ask you to do, just so that you can play around with the tool, is try to plot other variables. In the examples that we saw in class, we pretty much plotted, the body mass, the body weight as a function of time. But there are other variables involved in the model that you could plot as well. The exercise, the food intake. So try to make plots of those. See if they make any sense. See if you have any questions. That will also help you get more familiar with VENSIM and with the tools and the capabilities of the software. Let's see. I have there's an assignment coming up, or actually there's two assignments for this class, as you know. One is a review paper, and one is your term paper, your term project. I'm going to be posting some indications and some general instructions for these two assignments very shortly. But I want to give you a heads up of what's coming a little bit for your for the paper review. What we're going to do is that I'm going to select from the literature, a few papers that I think cover different subjects on sustainability and modeling, and I'm going to assign them to those registered for the class pretty much at random. So I'll give you a paper, I'll give you specific questions to answer about that paper, and I want a written response, and that's going to be that assignment. Okay, so I'll post these instructions shortly, and that's going to be your first assignment. For your second assignment, and this is why I want to give you a little bit of lead time, is that I'm going to ask you very shortly, I'll post this on our Facebook page as an assignment, is to think about a topic, sustainability topic that's dear to you, okay? And I want to make sure that you pick a topic that you're interested in, because I'm going to ask you to do research on it. I'm going to ask you to develop a modeling or model around that topic, and using the simulation tool VENSIM. So that's going to be, and you're going to be able to present this either in written form as a term paper, in a poster form, so I want to really ask you to think about it. I'm going to ask you to send me soon a one paragraph on the subject that you want to cover in your term paper, and then I'll give you further instructions as to how to develop the work. But I want to give you a heads up that those things are coming. I want to. I've been seeing some discussion on the Facebook discussion page. Not as much as I'd like to see. I think a lot of people are still, finding their way around the class and maybe a little bit shy about posting comments. But I want to encourage you to post comments, to post, if you come across any interesting subjects that are related to the class, please post them. So I'd like to see more activity. So I'd like to encourage you to participate in the class. This is the equivalent of being in a classroom and being, quiet, lecture in, lecture out. So I really, that's not a very entertaining class. I'd like to see more participation, so I want to encourage that. Remember that I will consider participation as part of the grading for the class. So I really want to see that. I think that's all I had for today. Welcome to the lecture. If you haven't watched the video, go and watch it, and then come back to this. And I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoy the class. Have a good week.